Hello and welcome everyone to LCS Challengers, presented by Subway. I'm your cast of the day, Eric Desworks Patran, and of course joining me is my brother from another mother, the Ethiopian e-boy himself, Beatdown Boulevard. How you doing today, brother?
I'm thinking I need to change that, remove that from my bio, but it rolls off the tongue, so you know what? I'm doing great, Eric. I said it in my tweet, but it's my first pass back on Challengers League. I get to do it with my boy, Mr. Eric Beltran.
Oh, yeah.
What more can a man ask for?
And on top of that, on top of the day where we just saw Kangas casting in the LCS as well.
We keep winning.
So good, man. Feels so good. We keep winning. And, you know, it is week 2, day number 1. That means that 2 of our teams haven't played just yet. 2 of our teams are going to have their second matches of the day. So kind of a weird schedule as we kind of ease into it, but still going to be a good time, right?
Yeah, it is interesting to see that going into week 2, not like what we're used to from last year, where we already have a bit of an idea of how these teams are playing, but we're still waiting now for some of those first matches to come through. Luckily, our first series of the day, we have seen a little bit of gameplay between both of these teams. I don't want to spoil it yet, but, you know, just keep that in mind.
And we will be moving on to the schedule of the day to break down how things are looking to kind of unfold here on week number 2, day number 1. Because personally for me, there are some names in here that I am definitely ecstatic about. More specifically, our first match of the day, which is going to be TLC versus FlyQuest Challengers. 2 of these teams, some of the best when it comes to developmental space. You know, Jan, APA over on TLC getting called up, Masu getting called up on FlyQuest. Exactly. Now we're looking at the next generation of players, as well as Supernova and Lit, who are still looking to play their first best of 3 Fearless today.
That's right. I mean, the first series, these are what we believed at the start of the split to be our top 2 teams. And despite TLC's stumble last week, I still firmly believe that to be the case, speaking towards their potential. And yeah, our second series, Lit, qualified last summer during the promotion tournament, and Supernova got the spot that EG left when they left the LCS. So they get another chance to play here in the NACL and continue developing talent.
Yeah, it's got to feel kind of weird for Dragoon. You know, you kicked them out, and now the first team you go against, the team you kicked out, Supernova, suddenly back. Different roster, of course, but just funny to kind of look at it the way that way. Let's pull up the standings to see how things kind of unfolded over the week. As we didn't, again, have all our matches, but we did have some upsets coming in. One of those I want to point out, Beatdown, it's going to be the wild card one, who took a 2-0 against Team Liquid.
Yeah, I mean, I hinted at it earlier. Again, a stumble there from TLC, and I even talked to Keel a little bit about it to get his opinion. And I mean, it was tough. They had just recently gotten their mid laner, Roamer. He came from Korea. They haven't actually had very much scrim time with him. And of course, he's fresh out of LCK Challengers. So there's that little bit of a language barrier, that coordination that they're working through as a team. But I'm sure once they get everything together, once they get everything settled, this will be a team to look out for.
Now, bringing up our first match of the day, Team Liquid versus FlyQuest. We're going to start with the rosters, Team Liquid Honda Challengers. Now, a lot of familiar names on this one. Jenkins, of course, returning back with the Team Liquid roster. Spawn finding his way onto this one. One of the bigger questions I've been having with this roster is how the language barrier is going to kind of unfold with Roamer being in the mid lane.
I mean, we already got, again, like from what I heard from Keel, it's been a little tough so far. Mid lane, especially, it's such a pivotal role when it comes to, I mean, just impacting the rest of the map. So having that language barrier there, it's pretty fair to even predict that this would be a problem in the first place. But as time goes on, Roamer will learn, he'll get used to playing with this Team Liquid roster. And this, again, look at all the other pieces here. I mean, Keel, Spawn, Kimdown especially, who has looked really good towards the end of last year, and Jenkins, who's just coming back after a split off. Like, this is a strong roster.
Of course, their challengers will be FlyQuest challengers. If you notice that top side right there looks a little bit familiar from the Evil Geniuses side of things. That is Surdy and Shaden joined up with some of our developmental powerhouses like Quad and, of course, Sajed, who has been impressing day in and day out, Beat.
Right, I mean, Sajed's the most interesting and most exciting player to me on this roster. I mean, you look at this top side and Surdy and Shaden, known quantity. Chime, trying to redeem himself and to make it back to the LCS, and in a similar way, Quad, but with the LCK. So Sajed is one who has only been playing for maybe just the last 2 years or something along those lines, and this is the biggest team he's actually played on, and he did look pretty good in that first series that they had last weekend, and is a player I'm going to continue to watch, because if he ends up really living up to some of those expectations, FlyQuest would be my pick for first.
Yeah, FlyQuest is honestly a lot of people's pick for first. It's almost universal how beloved this team is. We are going to go to draft right now so we can get this match underway. FlyQuest Challengers versus Team Liquid Honda Challengers. Now, already, one of the big picks we're seeing go through is going to be that Karma. Very, very strong in the current meta. A lot of that shielding can go a long way in these matches, Beat.
I am honestly blown away that it just got through. I think the changes are utterly ridiculous. I mean, Ezreal Karma, unless we see a Karma Ezreal takeaway from TLC, you got to imagine that's just the look here for Sajet and Chime in the bot lane. Karma could be a flex, but I really think that bot lane right now has just become S tier because Ezreal received some buffs on his own side as well. Remember, guys, we're playing on the live patch, so every 2 weeks we're gonna have some new things to show you.
And of course, when you have Karma, it allows you to play different types of compositions. For example, where you enable the top side and let Surdy or Shaden happen to carry. You can take the Seraphine over into the bottom lane. We'll see how that does shape up. As for now, Team Liquid Honda Challengers, their first 2 picks are going to be the Varus as well as the Gragas getting locked in.
I mean, the Varus is very common from what we've seen. The Gragas did get buffed on this patch, and I thought was already fine to begin with, but it is interesting to see this one picked so early. It is a flex. We know Jenkins plays these sorts of disengage utility style, but also damage-dealing champions in the top side. It could be for Keel in the jungle as well, so they aren't giving away too much with this.
One of the matchups I'm most curious about is going to be on this top side, because we've seen a lot of Surdy and Shaden as Cassante does get locked in, going over to Surdy. And I was talking to Surdy earlier. I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? You're going against Jenkins. You've faced this guy so many times before. How you feeling about it? And he's like, he's a 3-trick pony. I'm going to take him down. No problem, man.
Well, we'll have to see. This Gragas could be that mythical 4th trick if that ends up going his way topside. And I like the Nautilus. Sometimes the answer we see to enchanters, particularly Karma, is just get on top of them. Just CC them to death and make it so that they can't kite you. So we'll see. This bot lane is looking to be very volatile, and we'll see if Kim Down is going to be able to land all those hooks.
Yeah, I believe it was Chime last week. There was a really well-timed Nautilus play that I had seen where they just waited for the next wave to come in, and that's when they hooked in between the waves. You can take advantage of things like that, but of course it works really well with the fact that you have a lot of crowd control on this squad already for Team Liquid as we head into the second phase of the draft.
Right, Vi taken out of the picture, really strong on this current patch, makes a lot of sense. And at this point, it's just going to be about pinching the jungle pool on their side and the Yasuo ban, which I find very interesting. That makes me wonder if this Karma is going to go elsewhere and we see a Seraphine or something, because usually that ends up being a response. But at the moment, it's just about, for FlyQuest, removing the pool from those solo laners. You're not sure where Gragas is going yet. And for TLC, you already have a good bit of disengage and engage on your side, but you want to remove really powerful gap-closing tools from the side of FlyQuest, like we saw from this 5 pick.
And so far, I really do like how FlyQuest have done this draft. We're talking about a lot of those powerful picks that Jenkins does like. First round of the draft, they took away 2 of those champions he's really good at. They took away a lot of that early game momentum that you can get from a Callista put on spawn, for example. And now, of course, the second phase of the draft, only 1 more ban to go, taking away that Yasuo. Makes me wonder just how these lanes are going to shape up, just what exactly they're going for right here, B.
Right, and it's the Udyr takeaway. They don't want to give that option to Jenkins, that more tank pick on the top side. And at this point, I think we may find out where this Gragas is going to go. There it is, yeah. Jenkins is going to blind that top side, and it's just about giving Roamer the best matchup that he can hope for at this point. Everything else is mostly locked in. There's a tiny chance for Gragas mid, but my money is going to be on the jungle there.
Very curious what Roamer's going to grab. We talked a little bit about language barriers. This was something that was talked about on one of the LCS segments as well. Getting past that and making it worth having to get through that language barrier for the level of play you're looking to get. I mean, for the most part, Roamer did look a little bit desynced with the rest of Team Liquid, but the mechanical play was there. He's a very capable player.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Braum hover kind of had me shook for a moment. It could have ended up being the Karma mid. But I think the Azir is probably the lock-in that we're expecting here. You already have a really good front line with this Cassante and this Xin Zhao there for Shaden in the jungle, and you're just trying to make space for these big DPS champions like the Azir and like the Ezreal to go through here. So at this point, if I'm Roamer, it might just end up being something like the Orianna, so you get that kind of wombo combo with the Nautilus, with the Gragas maybe who goes in it, or you want to add some more AD into the mix and just want to go blow for blow in terms of DPS.
Yeah, very interesting pickup coming out there from the side of Roamer. He did play Tristana last week, if I remember correctly. It was into a Victor pick and looked quite capable on it. So now going to challenge this into the Azir of Quad. Should be an interesting matchup to see go down, as we do have our draft pretty much fully completed right here. Is there anyone you're favoring now that you've seen the teams completed?
I'm kind of leaning FlyQuest's way personally, because I think there isn't as much like hard CC, something like the Vi that we saw. It is possible to kite out TLC's composition, and that's kind of the big win con here for FlyQuest. If you can keep these fights going nice and long, make full use of the Karma Shield, and then keep getting out as much DPS as you can, and things will probably go your way.
I mean, we saw it on the LCS stage. It was the Team Liquid 100 Thieves game where we saw the power of these shields and what can happen when it gets a second rotation, how much damage you're absorbing. And keep in mind, there is a lot of DPS coming out from the side of Team Liquid Honda Challengers. So it is great to have this Karma as your B1, but I really do like this powerful punch that you have coming alongside it. The scaling of the Azir, this front line is pretty meaty to get through.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't mean TLC or any slouches. Like, you have double marksman on the other side, so you're going to do a lot of damage later. You're most notably going to be able to take these objectives very quickly, which has really begun to matter a lot this season with how tanky things like the Baron have become. And it means that if a fight goes on TLC's terms, they are going to be able to blow up somebody if Kim Down and Keel get the right CC lock. And that's what they're going to be playing for once we get outside the laning phase.
And also, looking at the jungle matchup here, I do want to throw back to what we had seen last week. It felt like Keel got outpaced a lot by Winnie. It's just his first game, right? We do know how capable Keel is. We've seen how amazing he plays when he played when he was on Wildcard. So I feel like this match is to kind of like stabilize that mental, to re-strengthen yourself and give yourself that confidence back for Keel. But it's against a tough opponent in Shaden.
Right, and again, I think it was more of a team-wide issue last week from TLC. Like, again, you've only had this mid laner for a couple weeks. You're working through language barriers and things like that, and just team coordination in general. So I really wouldn't write off this TLC team just yet. And this will probably, now that they've had a little extra time together, might give us a better idea of what they're going to be capable of. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, FlyQuest, best team in the league. If you ask a lot of people who have doing power rankings, been keeping an eye out, so this is quite the test for TL.
And to go back onto that point with Roamer, it's something we've both gotten a perspective of. You talked with Keel, I talked with Kim Down, and they both said Roamer is taking to the language quite well. He's learning to communicate with the team. So this TL roster should be a little bit of a fine wine situation, getting better with age. Problem is, you've only had one match, and FlyQuest is going to be your toughest opponent on the season.
Right, and I mean, it is going to be a tough one, but imagine they end up, even if they take a game, if they go game 3, if they win the series, it ends up being a good look, and maybe you can get another chance in the playoffs. Because realistically, like, you can clip it right now, like, TLC will make playoffs. It's fine.
I very much believe it, but there's definitely some things you got to keep in mind, that it's definitely not the same TLC that we knew before. This TLC is being built by MASH this time instead of Spawn, who was with the Academy team and the Challengers team for oh so long, Beam.
That's right, and now he has gotten that well-deserved promotion into the LCS, and like you said, MASH has taken the reins. We'll see if that success ends up continuing. There's definitely a lot to live up to in that regard.
Oh yeah, big shoes to fill. So take a look at some of the jungle pathing coming in. It's going to be matched both ways. Keel does have the red buff going down to the bottom. Shaden as well, taking that bottom pathing. We know Shaden to be a bit more of an aggressive jungler, does like to do those heavy invades.
Right, I don't think Keel really have an opportunity to do so. In fact, Keel is the one who's taking that chance right now. Actually, I think he's going for the long route or a gank, but he actually does get spotted out by Shaden. So Sajid and Chime should have a pretty easy time getting out of it. Because that is the one thing. Again, you CC lock these champions.
It's not the easiest catch to do unless you go over the wall like that. Wind becomes lightning and into the air. Kill goes. He's looking doomed. It's
gone.
all gloom. It's first blood for Shaden.
Wow, really nice call out there from Shaden. Again, doing the red buff in the bush, spotted that unique path that Keel was going for to try and bypass what we consider standard vision. Although Shaden, fighting off a little more than he can chew, has to flash away.
And it was an interesting pathing because this was very similar to what Winnie did against Keel. He did Raptors, Red, Gromp, and then went for the level 3. Instead, Keel just cleared his top side. It was just a shame that he got spotted out right here.
Right, and again, usually you could see in that tri-bush on the top right of your screen that is usually what players are looking out for when they're so pushed up in the lane. So again, it's a huge deal that Shaden, A, spotted it, and also predicted the body slam from Keel to land that Winds become lightning. That pretty much set up this whole play and allowed him to chase him down.
That was an incredible prediction. I mean, you knew where the body slam was going to go, but it's still a very, very thin skill shot to have to land. So nice play from Shaden nonetheless. Will give FlyQuest this early lead.
Right, and now Dragons are what I'm keeping my eye on. This season, Dragons have always been important these last couple of years, but if this really feels like Season 10 all over again, Eric, with that introduction of Dragon Souls and Dragons just becoming everything, and with this bot lane that Ezreal Karma, where you're seeing a lot of push come through, I'm wanting to see if FlyQuest will take advantage and try to go for the Drake stacking.
Yeah, Drake stacking has been at least a little bit more prioritized over the Void Grubs. I've seen in different regions strategies around Void Grubs where you steal Dragon Stack, but you deny 6 Void Grubs. Pioshik, I'd seen it recently. He took it in his jungle path where he just very simply took one and then went back to pathing to bottom.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Inspired literally did that today in the LCS in their game earlier on. And that's really what it's about. You just want to deny them from getting 5 or 6, and
Roamer, he flashes
He's gone!
forward, and he does have the hands, baby. Wind becomes lightning, catches a little bit too late, though. It's not going to give the audacious charge. Now you have to deal with Surdy if you want to find an escape, and I don't think Roamer's going to get one unless he gets a recall in that brush. Shaden sniffing it out, though, walking right up to it. Surely he's going to go down. No way. No way. The recall's coming out. Shaden.
Oh, they got him. He's out of there.
Right there.
He's out of there.
Escape beat. What the hell?
Really nice play from Roamer. I mean, at this point, you were happy to trade flashes. You were happy for the 1-for-1. But Roamer, he gets a little bit more out of it. And that is a big deal that he just gets the TP back to lane and effectively has that advantage now.
No way, man. No
way.
Oh, the instincts of Shaden. You know, for a moment he thought he was in that brush, but was like, no. He probably pathed upwards. He's probably trying to trick me, and played himself in the process, man.
Yeah, he really did. Basically, it's just unlucky. And, we're actually going to see this one again. I mean, good of Roamer. He got that level 6 advantage, had more health, noticed Quad was out of mana, and wanted to take this opportunity before he got access to the Emperor's Divide. And at this point, Quad was a dead man walking, flash or not.
A very nice play, and so sad for Shaden right there because you landed the Wind becomes lightning, but you can't get the follow-up. And then, of course, just a little bit of Metal Gear right here, being sneaky as possible. And look at the Fog of War. That's why he got it. It cut off just enough to trigger him.
No, I'm telling you right now, it's a knowledge diff, because what it showed us was that you're seen by the top tier 1 turret if you walk into the tri-brush. Had Shaden known that, this would have been a very different story.
Well, the Dragon stacking is going to start up. Team Liquid Honda Challengers will be the first one to grab a Drake. Infernal Drake taken off the map. And that Dragon stacking, very, very valuable in the current meta, as we were mentioning earlier. Kill taking advantage of that situation. Now we pathing upwards. Same direction where Shaden's going, so we might see another clash of junglers.
Maybe, but for the moment, things have quieted down. First Drake for TLC is a pretty big deal, as again, Drake stacking. Very important here in Season 14. And with that in mind, it's just going to be about whether or not... Oh, actually, hold on.
Oh, Shaden's going for this one. Heel's not too far off, but Quad is the first one to get into the fight. Shaden runs low. Jenkins with the World Ender. That means you get a lot of healing, good amount of damage. FlyQuest are going to have to back off.
Keel, on the other hand, he wants to keep moving forward. He sees the health advantage. He sees Jenkins is still here.
Ooh, Shaden forced a bird flash to get away from the grasp of Jenkins. A nice little pinch coming out from the 1-2 combo, Jenkins and Keel.
Yeah, I really like using that priority you got for yourself as the Aatrox.
Ooh, Chain of Corruptions comes out. Ooh, this is a bad place for Sajed to be. Getting chased down by Spawn. Hook does not land again, and there's not enough mana really left in the tank. Spawn will just have to back off.
Wow, we got a trade of ults coming through from both marksmen. You can see how dogged this bot lane matchup is and how volatile, like I called out during Champion Select. Keep that in mind. Now, I love how both mid laners have been trying really hard to get out of lane and help. During that topside invade, Roamer was actually looking for a move bot side. Just now, we saw Quad trying to do the same, and it's just to show how important it is to both teams to try to influence that side of the map so they can stack these Drakes.
And it'll still be a while before we do get another Drake spawned. 3 minutes. But I do feel like it's definitely going to start to become more and more of a teamfight timer than any other season before. Let's take a look at the state of the map, though. It's Roamer who's really hard shoving in this mid lane. And having that freedom for Tristana can mean so much, because if you make a play with that Tristana, she takes structures in the snap of a thumb.
True. He's definitely really good at that. Remember, though, Roamer doesn't have Flash. The play that happened earlier, and the support jungle of FlyQuest got that first move. So they are looking to either alleviate pressure from Quad so that wave gets in, or maybe try and set up a play onto this Tristana. Either way. Oh.
You do got some attention towards that side of the map for now, but nothing really to fight over, so this is just going to be a little bit of a contention for Vision coming up. But early stages of the game going relatively even between both of these two teams. Again, these teams have been one of the most exceptional when it comes to developmental prospects. We said it earlier, TL brought up APA, brought up Yan, as well as some other players. FlyQuest with Masu over on their LCS team now. And really, some of the prospects we have here, very exciting. Surdy almost had a chance to be on an LCS squad. Sad things fell through with that over there.
Robbed.
You know, absolutely robbed to that regard. And then, of course, Sajed is seen as one of the next big ADC prospects that FlyQuest is bringing up. So it's an exciting time to be watching Tier 2 in League of Legends.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though you could argue it's the most exciting on this team, 30 going for a bit of an exciting moment here.
All out versus the World Ender. Jenkins is able to bring down the sword. Doesn't get enough damage in, and now Shaden has arrived. Shaden and Surdy together will tag team onto Jenkins. Shaden needs to get some extra ground, but remember, he burnt his flash earlier. Quad over the wall will slay Jenkins.
Almost got away with murder. FlyQuest's new mid laner says no, sir. It's going to give the opportunity for Shaden to pick up some grubs. Again, there's no Drake, but it is some gold and XP here for the jungler of FlyQuest Challengers. And with that Drake spawning in about 50 seconds, that's got to be where you're setting your sights if you're FlyC. TLC already have the first one. You don't want to let them start stacking towards the soul.
You can see that from Shaden just now. We were talking about that Void Grub strategy to just take one and go. Shaden does just that. He's able to deny one of them from Kill. Kill's going to grab the next two. But the next major objective, you had mentioned it earlier, Beat, is going to be that dragon. We are getting resets. Shaden's going to be the first one onto the map to start setting up in that direction. Kill a little bit later.
He did just finish his first item. It's worth noting that Lichbane coming through, so he's going for a lot of burst damage on this champion. And this is, again, how this comp is going to work. You want to blow somebody up. The first person Kim down is able to catch out or maybe spawn with the Chain of Corruptions. And the build just continues to show that.
Setting up into that tri-bush. FlyQuest don't currently know, but they should suspect something. Hook lands. It's going to be onto Shaden. Shaden doesn't mind, though. Jumps right in with the audacious charge.
Nice barrel.
Through. Shaden's getting a little bit too low. Crescent Guard comes in late. Chime now with the bomb right on top of his head. Roamer's going to press on and send him to the grave. Expert hands coming out from TLC as they'll take two off of FlyQuest, make it 3.
And Shaden, really greedy of him to go back in there. He had his out because TLC were willing to back off, but since he essentially went in solo, it's really easy for him to get blown up. And now Roamer has just spent his gold, already choked squad to half with all that newfound income.
Yeah, the Kraken Slayer Now chipping away at Quad. This Tristana is starting to come online, and man, this might just be a pocket special for Roamer. Shochi, move out of the way. He's taking your Tristana. The name is Roamer.
That's right. Really nice play. Chime looking to see what he could steal with the Mantra Q, but ultimately we're starting to see TLC get a bit of a lead for themselves. Just over 1,000 gold, halfway towards what we now know to be a Chemtech Soul. Which means that if plays continue to go like this, Eric, oh my god, if that worked, Quad would have been dead.
They're so ready, B. They're so ready. They want to fight right now, and a lot of this is around Roamer. He's got most of the econ, and it's pretty easy to play around this Tristana. That's what they're going to do right now as they start setting up a play in the bottom lane. Hook comes out, Kim down, lands it with ease, and Chime is another victim to Roamer.
Ooh, I think Chime maybe pushed up just a little bit. You saw that Kim down was coming back down from the mid lane, so being that pushed up, oh my god, made it really easy for you to get caught out. And speaking of, I think Sajid's gonna die.
Yeah, Sajid, wrong place, wrong time. Spawn will grab that kill, and Team Liquid are starting to explode on the map. An explosive fight in the top lane. Jenkins versus Surdy, all out versus World Ender. The sidestep coming out from Jenkins is able to get over the wall, but Surdy follows suit. He's hunting him down. 100 health remains, pulls him back over, and we'll take him out for the solo.
Someone insert the Showmaker copy pasta. You get the idea, but really nice played, all jokes aside. Really nice play,
I don't feel bad if it's happening to an Aatrox, though, all right?
What do you have against Aatrox?
This man has had way too much limelight in previous seasons. It's okay, it's okay. He was one of the second generation of lane bullies.
All right. And now it's Kasante's turn is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. A nice play from Surdy, a nice solo bolo coming through, and it's basically going to prove a bit of an issue inside lane for Jenkins, because Surdy, at this point, because he's got a kill, he's got an assist, and he's got this lead over Jenkins, he's going to be able to 1v1 him whenever ult is up and available. So I'm interested to see if we see a swap up of the lane assignments just to have a winning matchup for a top side. And we're just going to see this one happen again. As soon as that Q3 comes through, Jenkins is like, I got to ult, it's over.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Jenkins, trying to land his own Qs, Surdy had excellent sidesteps, does get away from it, and finally able to land that final knockback that takes him down. Surdy staying true to his word, saying he's going to beat down Jenkins. He's doing just that with the solos.
Yeah, Aatrox wasn't on the list, so apparently Surdy just wasn't having it. And now that Herald that was picked up by TL, they are going to get that second charge, it looks like, and that is a nice extra bit of gold into their pockets, and Quad!
Oh, man. Here we go. Quad goes in.
That's a lot of damage.
Down Spawn. Shaden follows through. Quad's A-OK right now. Can he get away from Jenkins? That will get him safety. Quad grabs the kill on the way out. And just like that, FlyQuest, it was a very sloppy engage, but they found it nonetheless, beat.
It was a much-needed play, and honestly, I want to credit Quad for going for it. This is a player who's played quite a few games in the LCK. You got to imagine he is not afraid to get in there. He's not afraid to take risks, splash forward. And that time, it really paid off for FlyQuest.
Gives FlyQuest a position to fight back from, where you see Team Liquid getting all this economy down into their bottom lane, down into their mid lane. It's kind of getting matched from the top side of FlyQuest as we take a look at that play in the mid lane from Quad.
Look at this one. I like this from Quad. Doesn't immediately go for that Emperor's Divide. He's doing a bit of a check there for Spawn. Are you going to panic flash? And the answer was yes. And ultimately, as soon as the flash misses from Jenkins, he has to run away because he knows he can't actually get the kill.
Nice that Quad was able to stay alive. Now puts him at 2-1-1. Still trying to catch up with Roamer. As Roamer is currently just wailing away at this turret, as well as this Cassante.
Goodbye, Kim down.
Trying to survive, goes after Kim down. Kim down is down, and Surdy stands strong.
Yeah, we did see Surdy's emoting a little bit. We did see that that switch up of lane assignments that I was alluding to earlier, but it really backfires because Surdy catches Kim down slipping just a little bit and is able to completely dissuade the dive and pick up a kill for himself.
And this is good positioning for FlyQuest right now, because Dragon stacking has started from Team Liquid. Now you have priority on that entire side of the map, as well as Surdy, who has teleport, who's been free firing over there on that top lane. FlyQuest are in prime position. What do TL do?
I mean, TL, again, the way their whole comp works is Kimdown throws a hook, Keel tries to land a body slam, and whoever that is, pop them like a balloon. That is the way your comp is going to work, and they have to be able to actually make this happen. Keel needs to live.
Keel can't get caught right here. True Shot Barrage takes him down to 200 HP, but that means Keel needs to bail, and the Dragon is up.
Really nicely done there. This time, Shaden going in. I like that decision making. You want to kill or at least chunk the jungler to make sure there is no smite fight to be had, and you have halted the Drake stacking that TL have been going for so far. And I mean, that's a perfect example of how these fights are going to look. If you're the one who's going in while making space for your damage dealers in Quad and Sajed, this is how FlyQuest win team fights.
So far for Team Liquid, trying to fight their way back of what was a pretty good early game that we had witnessed, mostly coming off from Roamer. Other lanes now starting to find their struggles. I mean, Jenkins can't seem to get the better of Surdy, and we do have some of these amazing plays that are coming out from Quad. I think we're in for a good series, B.
Probably. Right now, Surdy is level 13. He's 2 ahead of Jenkins, and he's tied with Roamer and Quad. So again, I'm wondering if we're going to continue to see Surdy match this Tristana in the side lane. I mean, so much mobility, and it's just so easy for you to keep people like Cassante off you with the Buster Shot and all your movement spells. It does make me think that Roamer will still be able to handle himself just fine.
And of course, having the assistance of all that crowd control.
Yeah.
Members like Kimdown, for example, who you definitely got to give a lot of credit to from last year. Kimdown was one of the most improved players, showed a lot of growth over the course of the season, and still trying to show that right now. Kimdown even said that I want to continue to take a lot of those lessons I learned from last year and now focus on the mistakes I made, correct those as well, and be a more complete package.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. I mean, so we've seen a lot of players last year who had shown growth and improved. I mean, need to hold that thought. Roamer, they want you.
Roamer getting jumped on. When becomes Lightning looking to follow suit. The tower goes down before the teleport even channels, and it is a kill going over FlyQuest. The most valuable kill you could get, Roamer.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the Baron is tanky now, you have Ezreal and Azir. You do burn this pretty quickly, and with this numbers advantage, the strongest member of TL is out of the picture.
Kill has bought some AP, so he does have a decent burst alongside his smite if he wants to go for a steal right now, but it's going to be very risky. If you don't get it, you can be giving up so much right now. 5k health remains.
There's no vision. They don't know.
Ooh, instead, FlyQuest are going to go for the fight. They hop on a Kimdown. Surdy, has to pull him back. Isolated, it's going to be Shaden. He to kill. Now peeling back as Jenkins holds the front line. Surdy trying to do the same. And with that, just one pick going over to Team Liquid. But goodness gracious, they stopped the Baron.
Wow, that one was close. It seemed like FlyQuest were a little unsure about whether or not they wanted to try and burst it, go for the fight. In the end, they walk away, but that disconnect is what causes Shaden to actually end up going down, and a nice use of the stasis from Keel on that Seeker's arm guard. So you do slow things down a little bit as TLC, which is what you wanted, and means that FlyQuest, they're going to have to commit a lot to take Roamer down again if they want to make something like that happen. Because remember, that was 4 members of FlyQuest who showed up at the top side, one way or another, to take down this Tristana.
Now Roamer once again being an absolute menace. Emperor's Divide comes out, pushes Roamer in the direction that wasn't intended. A Buster Shot onto Surdy, pushes him away, but Roamer's still at 200 HP. This might be the long chase for FlyQuest. Surdy can't get close enough, and like that, Roamer's going to survive by the skin of his teeth, but a very awkward Emperor's Divide there, B.
A little bit, but at the end of the day, no health, may as well be dead. And now it's FlyQuest jumping right back onto the Baron. Roamer doesn't have teleport, remember, and no real amount of lifesteal to his name. So look at how low he is right now, but he's showing up anyway.
Oh, it's a bait, and Surdy's going to lead it with
gone.
the all-out on a kill. That means no smite for Team Liquid.
I appreciate the commitment to certainty, and now the rest of TLC have to make something happen. Can they actually do it?
Oh, this is desperate right now. Well, I mean, what's going to do enough damage in one hit? Piercing Arrow is one of them, but FlyQuest will turn on you on a dime. Depth Charge goes out. Jenkins pops the World Ender.
They got it.
Healing's coming through, and that's going to be a secured Baron going the way of FlyQuest. And the fight looking to follow suit. Roamer over the wall. Couple of autos onto Surdy. FlyQuest are happy wearing the purple buff.
Again, I appreciate that commitment to certainty. Always turning off the Baron to try and get a pick. Force away the jungler of TLC. This time around, they were all committed to it.
Yeah.
And that led to them getting the kill, getting the Baron, and now having a significant lead in this game. 3,000 gold in their favor, and this Baron buff to play with.
And it seems like FlyQuest is another team that's going to go through some level of growing pains, but we're seeing it in real time actually resolve itself. Disconnected engages a little bit earlier in the game, but as we get deeper into this with the Baron baits, they're able to sync it all together, and now the Baron power play. Time to get some of those rewards as the mid lane turret goes down.
Yeah, it's an easy cash out coming through from FlyQuest Challengers in a really good position they find themselves in. Again, it's worth noting, TLC not out of the game necessarily, just in a very difficult position. Win con for them is still the same. You need to CC somebody and to blow them up. If it ends up being someone like Quad, Sajed, Shaden, all acceptable targets, and your best chance at actually turning things around at the moment.
Second Chem Drake going to be picked up in the name of FlyQuest. Same play coming out from Roamer, just trying to play to the side lanes. Take out whatever structures he can. It has been working decently well for Team Liquid, but some slip-ups here and there. Quad's going to put some pressure over on the bottom lane in the meantime. The rest of FlyQuest kind of set up around the map. You see Kim down looking to lay the bait, but not going to be taken.
Yeah, most of the game, when Roamer is pushing out inside, he was getting cover from his teammates, and now FlyQuest are doing the same for Quad, making it so that there is no obvious engage angle for Kim down, like we saw him trying to go for. It's just going to be more gold into FlyQuest's favor as they continue. They just steadily hold on to this lead.
And this has been a pretty good back and forth so far. FlyQuest only have about 45 seconds left on the Baron before their power play is used up, and we'll leave them at about a 3k lead 25 minutes into this. It's not too substantial, but it's still a lead nonetheless, and they're getting in a lot of the right places, right? Look at Quad. He's going to be a late game monster, but Roamer's trying to match that.
Right, I mean, Roamer has been pretty fed pretty much this entire game. All started with that solo kill we saw at the beginning, and he's at 3 items now on the Tristana. So he still does a lot of damage. That's why TLC are still in this, because their ability to burst is still very much there. It's just going to be pretty hard, because now members like Surdy and Shaden have gotten really tanky with all this extra gold they've earned for themselves. At this point, the engage, it has to be just right. You got to catch out, again, Quad, Sajid, Shaden, even Chime, if that somehow presents itself, which it really shouldn't.
And I do like the utilization of this Baron beat. They used it in the most textbook way. They went to the inner and bottom, in the inner and mid, the inner and top. They got rid of all of those inner turrets. They're reaping the rewards. It gives them a 4k lead now. As it times out, it's the same time that they're making the recall for their next setup.
Yeah, and ultimately, we often see teams go for multiple turrets at the same time, but I appreciate that FlyQuest were playing that safer approach, only really playing 1 or 2 lanes at a time, just to make sure that TLC don't pick out the one with the least amount of resources, because that's, again, their window back into this. FlyQuest aren't giving it to them.
No, instead, they are just laying claim to this map. Team Liquid are still trying to find their ways in it. A lot of that coming from vision control. You can see that they have some control over their topside jungle now, but they need to fight a lot more of that control from FlyQuest, because if you're able to find those picks with like a dredge line or even Keel getting an explosive cask from the Fog of War, it could be exactly what you need to turn this around. I mean, you catch Quad, he's a very squishy player. Same thing with Sajid right there.
Right.
That's where a lot of the damage is for FlyQuest.
Yeah, but you can see it right now, wherever FlyQuest are playing. Look at the vision that they've laid out. It's basically just dark for Team Liquid Challengers. It's going to make it really hard for them to really push very far outside of their base. So at this point, you're just getting smothered, slowly but surely, unless you try and force something, and this is what...
Roamer outplays Quad, gets away
this is
from
it.
the Shurima shuffle, out comes the explosive cask. Oh,
You have to
Quad
continue.
is still alive.
They
Are you
want
kidding
this.
me? All of Team Liquid's over here, but they're not going to pursue for any more. They feel way too much risk on this one, and they could not take down Quad.
Wow, I'm actually really surprised that they backed off of that. I guess Cassante, 2.5 items would guarantee that a trade would come through here, and it's not as guaranteed of a play as they would want since everybody was in fog. But that's tough. That looked like it could have been one of those moments that you're hoping for, but instead you just give up another turret in the process, and whatever pressure you could have earned for yourself on the map is gone.
Yeah, that's really significant because Jenkins is not going to have his teleport. Crescent Guard comes out from Shade, and he's caught out inside the jungle. Kill only gets one more auto in. The shielding comes up, and Shaden is okay. We'll get that bonus movement speed. And still unable to finalize a kills Team Liquid.
That's literally a tragedy. If Keel had the exploding cask, that's a kill onto Shaden. But unfortunately, 30 seconds to Drake, TLC don't have a pick to speak of. So it just means that FlyQuest should have a really easy time picking up this Drake. But again, TLC, we're getting to this moment of desperation where you just got to start sending it, or you're just going to slowly bleed out.
Yeah, it is looking pretty bad for TL right now. You go look at the summoner spells, for example. Roamer, one of your biggest assets, does not have his flash currently, so there's even more risk on the table when it comes to this Baron.
All right, ults are back up. Everyone essentially is here. Roamer is TPing. Surely a play is going to be made, but this Baron's going down very quickly.
Gotta be fast, and Kill is not near. Chime is looking to body block. Baron's gonna
Surely
go
he
down.
just finishes it.
Ooh, it is secured. Getting locked in by FlyQuest. Here comes True Shot Barrage. Kill critically low. Sacha is able to grab that kill. Still going forward is gonna be FlyQuest. Kindown's not able to land. Instead, he gets it onto Sand Soldiers, and a double kill gets picked up by Sacha. Jenkins looking for more. They'll give you the whole damn table. 4 kills back to back to back to back by FlyQuest.
And Borderline and Ace, I say Borderline, but they're looking for Spawn on the side of FlyQuest Challengers, and it's looking like he will get away, but that doesn't make this game any less over, Eric, because you got the Baron, we got long spawn timers, and FlyQuest are marching on the base.
Goodness gracious. The two names we know best when it comes to developmental, still affiliated with the Challenger space. They are bringing it right here, right now. FlyQuest, so much on their shoulders. The expectations of the world. So many people see them as first place. And with this fight, they're looking to lay that claim down as they take down Team Liquid in game number 1.
And it's crazy because it looked pretty solid for Team Liquid from the start. They were finding engages. They were finding good fights in their favor. But as time went on and they got more gold into their pocket, it was plays like the EQ'd flash ult from Quad in the mid lane and being able to force all these situations for FlyQuest Challengers, which is what ultimately got them the win.
Yeah, a little shaky here and there. Shaden, trigger finger might be a little bit too happy, but they get the win nonetheless, and it does pay off when it matters the most. So good win going over to FlyQuest, but this is Fearless best of 3, so we got another match coming up. We're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, we'll get into game number 2 of FlyQuest Challengers versus Team Liquid Honda Challengers.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.